Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So I just wanted to go over a discussion. Let's do a little breakdown of what the happened at the trading deadline yesterday. I think the moral of the story, the key of the day, is incremental movements. The majority of the teams made, a good chunk of teams made incremental moves, which could likely, go a long way towards helping them either be more competitive or put them over the top, or so on and so forth, or unload some people for prospects. I mean, aside from the huge blockbuster trade with San Diego and Cleveland for Mike Clevenger, a lot of the other teams who were expected or thought of that it might have made blockbusters didn't do so, mainly because the prices were too high. And it became more evident throughout the day, and some of the GMs confirmed it, after the deadline yesterday, that it was just way too much. For people were asking for way too much, like Lance Lynn. Good piece. He would have been a good complementary, pitcher to a lot of rotations. But does he move the needle the way that Mike Clevenger does? We don't know. Or like a Justin Verlander or something like that? No. And I'll give you an example. The Yankees were looking at him, and GM Brian Cashman confirmed yesterday that they wanted two of these three guys in order to get Lance Lynn. Okay, either Davy Garcia, Clint Frazier, Clark Schmidt. You had to choose between the three of them, and you had to give at least two of them. Okay, and that was the starting point for Mike Clevenger. It would have cost even more to get Mike Clevenger. It might have cost all three of those guys. Now that's you talking about Clint Frazier's got 4 years of control. Schmidt's got another 5. That's almost that's over 15 years of team control at a low cost for 2 years of Mike Clevenger, or 2 years, or a year and a half of Lance Lynn. So I totally understand why Brian Cashman said no, or why any of the GMs said no. Do I wish he would have made, maybe an incremental move, maybe brought in a Greg Holland to complement the bullpen? Yes, but that said too, Zach Britton is coming off the DL and or the IL in a couple of days, and the way I look at it too, the Yankees will make essentially 8 to 10 acquisitions over the next month with guys coming off the DL. We got Torres coming back, Stanton coming back, Judge coming back, a bunch of these guys coming back. So, would a trade for someone else have been better than these guys coming back at the cost? Doesn't look like it would have. So, I could see the GM's logic. But that said, still disappointed that nothing happened. But, I'd rather make no deal than a stupid one. So, and I'm guessing Brian Cashman felt the same, and a lot of other GMs felt the same way too. They didn't want to be extorted. But incremental moves. Chicago Cubs made a couple of moves. They got a couple of pitchers and a position player. The most noticeable to me was Toronto. Aside from adding Taijuan Walker, they brought in Jonathan Villar. They made quite a few incremental. Robbie Ray. They made some incremental moves yesterday that I think is going to make them better, and potentially, if I were the Yankees, I would be looking out right now, because the Yankees are obviously not at full strength. They're not playing like they usually play, and Toronto's really making a move to be as competitive as possible in the American League East, just like San Diego is going right after the Dodgers in the NL West, and he made that clear yesterday. And I kind of knew with San Diego too that a couple years ago. After he brought in Hosmer, after he brought in Machado, and made all those trades, you knew this guy meant business. It's AJ Preller, I think his name is. Not all those moves panned out, but who knows if Clevenger's going to pan out, but at least you know that this guy means business. He wants to be competitive with the Dodgers. He wants to go right after them. So we'll see what happens. Do I think he closed the gap? Yeah, I do. With those trades, because not only did they get Clevenger, they got all these other guys, Mitch Moreland. They made a lot of incremental pieces to go along with him, added to the bullpen, added to the lineup, then added an ace type pitcher to the rotation, which they desperately needed. So they addressed a lot of holes. They gave up a lot. They gave up 7 of their top 20 prospects for all these trades that they made, but none of them were in the top 5. They kept their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prospects. So that's pretty. That's pretty shrewd baseball right there. Pretty shrewd business. So, well done, Padres. Who else made incremental moves? The A's traded for Mike Minor, and I think it's not a sexy move, but they needed pitching. It was probably the only one available. They also took him away from the Rangers, a team in their division. Okay, they may have gave up, I don't know what they gave up, a can of soup or something for him, but he only had half a year left. So, and it could be the thing, that gives the A's another rotation piece, a depth piece. So, and at this point, they're really good. They're hands-on favorites to win their division, and I can't see him hurting. So it was a good move by them as well. Toronto, like I said, aced it. Boston made a couple trades, got some prospect capital in return. Some other teams, Cleveland obviously got a boatload of capital, prospect capital in return, without, I think, hurting their chances of going far into this postseason as well. They still have Bieber. They still have players they still have a boatload of pitching talent to go along with that crazy lineup. I am a little, it's clear that they're going for it this year. It'll be disappointing if they don't win, because they had an opportunity to probably trade Francisco Lindor and gotten a boatload of prospect capital in return. And the good thing about him is he had another year left. And I think what was appealing to a lot of these teams was getting guys with team control left, because next year we don't know if there's going to be fans or when there's going to be fans. And so financial, cost cutting and being financially frugal was kind of the motivator behind a lot of these teams, and it was pretty obvious. But one move did surprise me, and the Marlins did make some incremental moves. I think they got better. Even though they traded out Villar, they brought in Starling Marte from the Diamondbacks. I was a little surprised, but with his production, that's a heck of a veteran presence. I have said in my other videos that they need some veteran players to complement some of their young guys. Okay. And they did trade, 2 young pitchers to get him. And they have a boatload of pitching depth, so I'm not surprised there. And they traded 2 major league pitchers instead of their top prospects. So, but his option, for 2021 is $12 million. So I thought that was a little high. I actually thought Miguel Andujar might have been a better fit for them, because he was under team control for the next 4 years. He's not a free agent until 2024. Whereas Marte, who knows if they're going to pick up his option? And if they don't, then I know they're obviously they're in the playoff bubble right now. So I would like to see them make the postseason. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. The Marlins, because the last time they made it was 2003 when they beat the Yankees in the World Series. So it was a bold move, kind of a ballsy move for the Marlins, but they're clearly trying to get better as well, and they want to compete, because the NL East, which I thought was going to be not as wide open as it is actually pretty wide open. So there's a shot for them. So it's a ballsy move. I didn't think it was the right move for them, but that said, if he produces, it's a moot point. It's the right move. So and I hope he produces. And so those are the kind of the highlights of the deadline, aside from some other trades here and there for some players. I think the Cubs made their incremental moves were good, because they're surprisingly better than I think a lot of people thought they were going to be. So they added a couple incremental pieces. None of the big guys moved aside from Mike Clevenger, which was a surprise, a real surprise. And but that said, who knows? The offseason might be a trading bonanza more than it will be a free agent frenzy bonanza, because of the cost cutting measures that's going on with COVID, and we don't know when the hell baseball is going to get back to normal. So, like with other sports too. So we hope that it happens. So. But it's still up in the air. But those are the highlights to me of the trading deadline. Padres, clear winners. Well done, guys. And Toronto, surprising and well done for you guys too. But the big teams, the Dodgers, the Yankees, Tampa Bay, did nothing. They stood pat. So, and it was pretty clear that the prices were way too high. Once Clevenger got a boatload of prospect, that raised the stakes for Lance Lynn. That's why they wanted so much for Lance Lynn. So I get it. If I was the GM, I'd have probably done the same thing. But realistically speaking, there was no way in hell the Yankees were going to give up 2 of those guys for Lance Lynn. Neither with the Dodgers, neither with Tampa Bay, neither with anybody. So, but can't fault the guy for shooting for the moon. Even if you fall short and land in the clouds, you still get it. So you get something. So, but that's the trading deadline. By the way, hope you enjoyed this. Hit that thumbs up if you did. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button if you like videos like this. I'm going to keep putting out good content moving forward. And take a look at the 100+ videos that I have out already for your enjoyment. In the description, I'll put a couple down below. And then I'm going to start transitioning over into maybe updated predictions for award winners for the year. I've done that earlier this season, and updated predictions for postseason and so on and so forth. Post deadline predictions, because I did say in one of my other videos that I was going to do post trading deadline predictions as well. So I'm going to start working on that now too. So if you want to see that stuff, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell next to it so you don't miss it, so you know when it's coming out. All right. With that said, have a great week, everybody, and I'll talk to you next time.